Hi there. So next we will dive into Cubase and see how to use advanced MIDI controllers, touchscreen and iPad with Cubase when creating music. So let's get going with Cubase and see how this is all coming together. Okay, so let's look on advanced MIDI controllers, and in this case we are now looking into Avid control with Cubase. So Avid control can be used with Cubase to control, of course, all the different aspects, faders, so mixing in your mixing and so on and so forth. You can control the tracks, you can select the track. Of course, now I have everything closed over here, so if I go and basically change the visibility so that you can see all my tracks, and everything is open. So now when I go and select a track in a iPad in Avid control, the track gets selected in my system and in Cubase, for example. And then if I'm opening up now a mixer, I can also do the same thing over here, so I can basically make these channels visual. So when I go into the mixer, I see everything here, and I can of course go and select the track that I want to work with. Then if I go into channel mode in iPad, so I can see that, you know, I have the inserts Vulcano and Pro Q over here, so I can basically then, you know, work with that plugins, and so it gives me all that information. I can see the inputs, different type of inputs that are coming in, dynamic aux if I have something, any groups or mix, and of course I can also work with the panning. So all that is basically visual and visible. I have different meters, so that if I'm now okay, let's go into the area where there is some action, and maybe we'll put the stereo down so that you don't hear that so loud. But now basically all that is visual here, so you can see all the metering in your iPad as well. So that's basically how this works, and I have made a separate video how to configure this for Cubase, so check it out. I will link it into this video, so you will see how to configure and use Avid control with Cubase. So that's an extra video that will be linked into this video, and I will dive more into how to configure this so that you can use Avid control in iPad with your Cubase. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so let's look on advanced MIDI controllers, and let's start with MASCHINE. MASCHINE is a advanced MIDI controller. It has all the transport mechanism as well, integrated with some Digital Audio Workstations, and you can create templates for it also to work with Cubase. And then of course it's a pad controller, so you can do drums, but you can also play instruments with it. So I have done some bass and arp and harmony. The good thing with Cubase and MASCHINE integration is that the MASCHINE is actually shown as one instrument over here. But then in your mix console, you see all the channels that are coming out from it. So in this case, 16 channels. And I have only selected the ones that I'm currently using in this project. So that's also quite neat. What you can control from here is that you can basically go and enable and disable the channels that you use or you don't use. And you only see the ones that you have in use from MASCHINE in your mixer. And then of course you could also create a MIDI channels or MIDI tracks for these and send MIDI into the individual pads. So you could do the MIDI in Cubase, sending it into the MASCHINE in this case I have done it in a simple way, so that I have actually programmed my project and my song into Machine Direct, so everything is here, and so Machine will be synchronized and will play along with Cubase. So now if I'm starting it, I can basically then, you know, play over here, and if I go into the keyboard mode, so I can also do jamming if I have an instrument, or I can do drumming if I have I'm up to drumming. So this is a good example about advanced MIDI controller, and in this case a kind of a pad control that is nicely and tightly integrated with the Digital Audio Workstation, and it works great with Cubase. A second one that I wanted to go through is a advanced MIDI controller as well, but it runs in iPad, and that's the Metagrid IO. And here actually in the Metagrid IO you have extremely good pre-made templates for Cubase. So someone has taken a lot of effort of introducing this into Cubase. So you have basically the basic controls, so for transport and zoom and so on and so forth. Then you have more specific for mixing, and then you have one specific template for MIDI, so you can do, you know, when you are composing things, you can run the MIDI macros from here. And then you have a channel, like for example, let's take the kick now, so you can see that the kick is basically now, and I can actually even do the fader from here. So the template is awesome. Then you could map it also with quick controls into quick controls what you have in your channel. If you have something that you have created quick controls to your instrument or to your plugins or whatever, you can then use the quick controls from here. So you can basically utilize that from the iPad as well. The good thing with Metagrid IO is that it's very customizable, so you can pretty much control everything. So if I would like to change this object, I can also see that what kind of a macro it is running. In this case, they have actually built a better and tighter integration with Cubase, as with some other digital audio workstations, as you have seen already in past. So you don't need to have a kind of a keyboard macro, but you can use the pre-made macros for Cubase in this case. And now, for example, if I would like to solo that, I can just basically then solo the track, and or if I go to another track and want to solo that, so I only hear snare in this case. So, or if I want to mute it, so the same. So all that can be, as said, nicely configured, controlled. You can change the layout, you can create your own layouts, and so on and so forth. So it's very versatile controller, works with most of the digital audio workstations, and has good integration with Cubase. And how to set it up is also, they have good instructions on it, but of course, as any, you need to kind of create in this case, you create a generic remote, and then you have certain mappings that you need to do over here in order to get it working, but that's all well explained in their system manuals. And that's another type of a iPad driven controller or advanced MIDI controller that can be used with Cubase. So let's move on. Okay, so next in advanced MIDI controllers, we are looking into Monogram. And it is a hybrid in the sense that it is, firstly, you can expand it. Secondly, it has different type of controllers, like you have sliders, but you also can then attach rotary controllers and buttons that you can program. And the program is very easy busy. You basically click on the control and define what type of MIDI actions or what type of actions in general you would like to do. So that's extremely simple and straightforward. Everything happens from this controller and creator app, and you can do different profiles for different instruments. Like I have one for Abbey Road, and I have one for Vienna Ensemble, and then I have for my external synthesizers. So you can have these different profiles, and of course adding a plus creates you a new one. So all that is extremely easy to configure. You can of course change these colors as well, that if you don't like that color, you can kind of color code your stuff so you know that what is what in that respect. And then that's pretty much it, how you configure the Abbey Road one. One interesting thing regarding about this controller, or in general of these advanced MIDI controllers, is that you have, and in Cubase you have an ability to create a MIDI remote, and that MIDI remote then can be linked into your quick controls or what. So you can do a custom mapping how this actually will be mapped into Cubase in general, and then basically that is how you can define these all these. And what I have done is that I have mapped some, for example. You can also change this layout so that it kind of represents what you kind of how your console is configured. And then as said, you can do a mapping from here, so you can map this into the controls in Cubase. So that's pretty interesting add-on what you can do, and customization that you can do with Cubase. But let's look on the simpler part, and let's go and for example open a Abbey Road one. So here now you can then of course with this controller and the sliders you can have more expression to your play. So and whatever you would like to do. Then of course if you add that extra component what I have had in the system as well. So what I have done here is that on top of these sliders I have also programmed that it will quickly change the way I want to play, or and change the style. Is it long or swells, or so that's one thing that that's one option that you can do. But then as said, this all can be customized easily from the app, so it's also in that respect quite neat and great to be used when creating music. So let's move on. All right, let's pause the video here and continue next Tuesday. Remember to subscribe for the channel for more content, and stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Bye now.